This is the Studio Series B127, before he became known as Bumblebee.
Now, Bumblebee is a character that I have something in common with. His name is Bumblebee, and I'm a bumbling idiot. Let's take a look at the box art.
You can see I tried taking the sticker off, but then just gave up halfway through, just like I do with most things in life.
You have some artwork of B127, a quick look at the side and the other side, a look at the back, and I'm really liking this vehicle mode. That's why I chose to get this figure despite it coming out a while ago. So let's open it up. Here is the figure, in my hands. There it is.
And I really do like the design of this. This version of Bumblebee is from the Bumblebee movie when he's on Cybertron, based off the character Bumblebee, starring the character Bumblebee, written, directed, and produced by Bumblebee as well. And he's wearing a battle mask. Now before I forget to mention, this figure is a retool of the Studio Series Cliffjumper, which was a retool of the Off-Road Studio Series Bumblebee. Now this figure does seem lighter than my empty head full of air.
And it's a very atrocious backpack, but you know what they say about backpacks is that you carry stuff in them.
Now I do want to go ahead and do something different here and actually do a comparison of this figure to its movie appearance throughout the video. And one of the first things you'll notice is RC. Damn, she's looking. One of the first things you'll notice is that the back kibble isn't in the movie. By the way, this isn't me bashing or criticizing design choices. I'm comparing a $25 plastic toy to a multi-million CGI model that's not limited to any physical constraints. I, however, am limited to physical constraints and am doomed to walk this earth failing to resist temptation. I just think it might be interesting to see the differences and choices they had to make to get this figure to be transformable. Now his face looks very different and I'm not sure why. Leave a comment below if you— that's a joke by the way, don't make me have to explain the joke. This head sculpt of Bumblebee is just a version with the battle mask.
And he does look very bug-eyed because his name is Bumblebee.
I don't know if you were able to put two and two together.
You can see a Autobot logo at the top of his forehead, kind of hard to focus on, and the rest of the mask does have some detail on it. The mask has a very sharp and angular look to it. You can see a bit of gray paint on the sides,
a tiny amount of detail on the back of the head.
There is also some nice detail at the top behind the shoulders, if you can see that.
There's a lot of yellow paint on this figure, I wonder why, but some parts are actually just molded yellow plastic. Now a closer look at the chest piece, you can see that it is painted yellow,
while the inside of the chest piece is a molded yellow plastic, which has some really nice designs and details on it, and on the inside it's kind of hard to see, but there is some gray silver paint on it. But back at the front piece, I can kind of see a face on it. There's like little eyes and stuff, you know?
Are you seeing it? I'm not crazy, right?
The chest also looks very angular. You have these little bits of gray there.
And the chest piece does seem similar to the movie. A closer look at his crotch piece, the best piece, it does have a significant amount of detail on there.
Down onto the thighs, I do like the silver gray color they have going, and you can also see a little bit of detail.
The rest of the legs don't have a whole lot of detail on them.
There is a bit of that gray silver over there.
On the feet you have these ridges which are a silver paint.
And some gear detail on the legs.
Nothing really going on at the bottom of the feet, they are a transparent plastic. Now from the movie you'll see that the legs are very different. He actually has calves in the movie and the leg kibble isn't there. Now a closer look at the arms, the shoulder piece looks very simple. It is partially yellow in the movie however.
Not too much detail over here, but this side of the arm does look quite nice.
Leaving a like and subscribing would also be nice. Now I do feel like his hands look really weird with this big gaping hole. He looks like he's just begging to hold something, like a banana, or his weapon, or a penis.
But the rest of the hands do have a tiny bit of detail on it. You can see his 3 fingers on it. Does he have 3 fingers?
Okay, it's 4, I forgot the thumb. That is how counting works.
And here's a look at the side arm piece, which is a painted yellow. And speaking of yellow paint, right over here you can see they tried to match the paint as best as they could, and while it's not perfect, it is pretty close. Much better than later figures such as the Legacy Hotshot, where the yellows look vastly different. Also, please go watch that review after this, please. A look at the back of the figure, nothing too much there.
And this backpack is pretty much the entire top section of the car mode. And these pieces are painted yellow. Now in the movie, the wheels on the back are in a different spot. They're much closer together.
For articulation, his head can only spin 360. It can lift up for the transformation, and you can see that it is on a ball joint, but even with the ball joint, he cannot look up. What you can sort of do is move it back like that and have him look up, but it looks weird.
You could also move the head up like that if you wanted to.
These arm pieces can move out to the side, and these do get in the way of the 360 rotation, so you're gonna have to move the arms out, but they can move a full 360. The biceps can spin all the way around. There is no hand movement.
There is waist rotation, but it doesn't spin all the way around.
These legs can move out to the side, they can move forward, you can give it a knee bend, and it can only really move back there before all the pieces get in the way.
There is a little bit of rotation on the legs. If we move this flap up, you'll see that the feet are on ball joints and they have a huge range of articulation. And I worry they might get loose over time and affect its ability to stand. The right leg on mine is already slightly looser than the left one, but other than that, I really did enjoy posing this figure. It's really fun. And there's a port for a stand at the back within the car kibble.
He does come with a weapon, and I think it looks really nice.
It looks very different from what he used when he he was on Cybertron in the movie. Is it just me or does that look a lot more phallic-y?
It's got two different shades of paint on it. It's got a darker gray and then some silver at the front, and the front of it looks really great. This is probably one of the best Bumblebee weapons I've seen so far. I really do like the amount of detail they put into this. Here's a quick look at the backdrop it comes with. For comparisons, here he is next to Legacy Hotshot, Studio Series 87 Bumblebee, Legacy RC, the Steve Train that's also a Bumblebee, a KO of the Studio Series Optimus Prime from Bumblebee, Studio Series Starscream, and Studio Series Sideswipe.
Hey, are you a carpet? Because you look like you need to be stepped on.
B127. I can't believe it. You have good choice in e-girls as well.
Now the transformation on this figure is a little bit complex, and it's a little difficult to get all the pieces to tab into place. First we need to start off by bringing out the chest piece, and I find the best way to do that is just move the head out of the way first, and then push back on the shoulders, and then pull out the chest piece. Now you can flip this out, untab this at the back, so that way we can move these forward. Now with this hinge joint over here, we need to move the head all the way into the back. Let's make sure to remove this. Now we need to bring in these pieces, and they can be a little bit tight.
Close up the chest piece.
And now we need to rotate the arms to where it's facing inside like this. And now the arms are supposed to tab in here,
But I found the connection to be pretty loose and it keeps popping out.
so even if you don't have them all the way in there, it's not really a big deal. Now take the feet and bring them in like that. Same with this one. And there we go. Like I said, these pieces just keep untabbing. Now move the doors up and over like that. Same with this one. Make sure all these pieces are in place properly. And then these need to connect. Now we need to bring out the wheels and this piece and bring it over like that. Same over here. And now we can go ahead and fix the feet. Now we can unfold the top piece, connect the front.
Bring the top piece down, and now comes the part where we just need to connect everything in place.
And this part can be a bit tricky. You just kind of gotta move some pieces out of the way to get this to go in. And now once this top part is in, it's a little tricky to get it back out, so be wary of that. But it is meant to tab in.
It can be a little difficult to get all the pieces to go in all the way, so we're just gonna leave it at that.
But here is the vehicle mode, and I really do like this vehicle mode. I really like the idea of Cybertronian alt modes. This one has a very sleek design to it. It looks really nice.
You probably will find yourself struggling to put pieces into proper places at times, which can be pretty annoying.
But yeah, this is one of those figures where it's kind of hard to get everything to fit into place properly. Oh fuck! Why did I do that? Now here's a look at the front of the vehicle mode. You have that thing, the thing there, and it's kind of hard to see, but there is some detail in there. You have a little bit of stuff going on the door. You can see some stuff poking through here. You got this at the back with a lot of detail. Here's a look at the underneath. This part is very hollow. That's because it's for weapon storage. You could do it properly, or you could just throw it in there like I did.
It doesn't matter.
There is a nice translucent window piece. Now it might be hard to tell on camera, but you can see the paint matching is slightly off. Like I said earlier, this section is paint, while this is yellow plastic. It's kind of hard to see here, but you can see some dried up paint drippage. And overall, the vehicle mode of this isn't bad. That's mostly why I got the figure, and he does roll pretty decently. Now some final thoughts on this figure, but first thank you to my patrons who support me on Patreon. This figure is really fun to pose. The alt mode on this is really nice, and the robot mode isn't that bad either.